"Sit down, military wannabe." Richard Henderson's voice boomed through first class as he shoved Captain Maya Reeves backward into seat 22C. Her carry-on bag tumbled down the aisle, spilling contents across the carpet. A worn notebook, energy bars, and a small black case that slid under row 24. "These stolen valor types make me sick," he announced to the cabin, loud enough for all 189 passengers to hear. "Probably bought that flight suit at a costume shop." Maya's jaw tightened, but she said nothing. She just straightened her Air Force dress blues and reached for her scattered belongings. The small crowd of first-class passengers stared, some filming on their phones. Nobody helped. Richard, a hedge fund manager in a $4,000 suit, stepped on her notebook deliberately. "Real pilots don't fly coach in economy comfort, sweetheart. They certainly don't look like you." Have you ever been dismissed so completely that someone destroyed your dignity in front of 189 witnesses? If this story of justice served at 35,000 feet gets your blood pumping, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next. 8 hours earlier, Maya Reeves woke to her alarm at 4:45 a.m., just like she had for the past 14 years. But today was different. Today was the culmination of everything. Her small base apartment at Andrews Air Force Base was sparse but organized with military precision. On the wall hung a single photograph that most people wouldn't understand. Her standing next to an F-22 Raptor, helmet under her arm, the presidential seal visible in the background. The caption read, "Captain Maya Phoenix Reeves, 94th Fighter Squadron." Her phone buzzed with a text that simply said, "Confirmed departure 1600 hours. President's ceremony is 1900. No delays." She typed back a quick, "Roger that." On her kitchen counter sat orders marked, "Classified Presidential Escort Mission." She'd been specifically requested by the president himself for tomorrow's Medal of Honor ceremony. Not as a guest, but as the lead pilot in the Air Force One escort formation. 4 F-22 Raptors under her command, protecting the president during his flight to the ceremony. But that was tomorrow. Today she had to get to San Diego for pre-mission briefings. The Air Force had booked her on a commercial flight. Budget cuts meant even decorated combat pilots flew commercial when not on active duty. She packed her dress blues carefully. The ribbons on her chest told a story most civilians couldn't read. Silver Star, 2 Distinguished Flying Crosses, Purple Heart, 7 Air Medals. Her call sign Phoenix wasn't given lightly. She'd been shot down over hostile territory in Afghanistan, evaded capture for 3 days, and was rescued just as enemy forces closed in. She came back from the ashes. Hence the name Phoenix. As she locked her apartment, her phone buzzed again. An email from the Pentagon read, "Captain Reeves, presidential authorization confirmed. Air Force One standing by for emergency protocol if needed. You are priority alpha." She didn't know it yet, but that protocol was about to be activated. Maya arrived at Dulles International Airport in her dress blues. Regulations required it when traveling on orders. The uniform drew stares. It always did. A female fighter pilot was still rare enough to turn heads. She boarded early with military passengers and found her seat, 22C, economy comfort. As she stowed her bag, she noticed first class was half empty. Budget cuts meant no upgrades today. That's when Richard Henderson appeared. He was already 3 whiskeys deep from the airport lounge, his red face glistening with sweat and entitlement. When he saw Maya settling into 22C, something in him snapped. "Excuse me," he said loudly. "Flight attendant." "Flight attendant?" Jessica Martinez, a flight attendant with 12 years' experience, approached quickly. "Yes, sir." "This person," he gestured at Maya like she was garbage, "is clearly not military. Look at her. Women don't fly fighter jets. This is stolen valor, and I'm a Navy veteran. I know what I'm talking about." Maya looked up calmly. "Sir, I can show you my military ID if—" "Fake ID," he interrupted sharply. "You can buy anything online these days." He turned back to Jessica with fury in his eyes. "I want her removed from this flight. She's impersonating an officer. That's a federal crime." Other passengers began paying attention. Phones came out. Jessica looked uncomfortable. "Sir, if she has military orders, those are fake too," Richard was shouting now. "I served 4 years in the Navy, supply clerk at a desk job in Norfolk, and I know a phony when I see one. Real combat pilots are men, Real warriors don't look like fashion models in costumes. Maya remained seated, her expression neutral. This wasn't her first encounter with ignorance. Richard leaned down, his whiskey breath hot on her face. "What's your unit, honey? What do you fly? Give me technical specs right now, or I'm calling the FBI." "Sir, I don't need to prove anything to you," Maya said quietly. "That's what I thought." Richard grabbed her arm and yanked her upward. "Stand up! You're getting off this plane." That's when he shoved her backward into the seat, her bags spilling everywhere. A teenager in row 23 started filming. Instagram Live showed 47 viewers. "Look at this, everyone," Richard announced, playing to his audience. "Stolen valor in action. This is what's wrong with America. Fake heroes everywhere." Jessica tried to intervene. "Sir, please calm down. I am calm." He kicked Maya's scattered belongings down the aisle. "Real pilots don't fly commercial. Real officers don't sit in coach. This girl probably works at Starbucks." More phones appeared. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook Live. The feeds were spreading across social media. Maya finally stood, her voice like steel. "Sir, you need to step back." "Or what?" Richard laughed mockingly. "You'll call your pretend commanding officer?" The small black case that had slid under row 24 lay forgotten on the floor. Inside it, her encrypted military phone, her classified orders, and her F-22 pilot wings with Phoenix engraved on the back. A businesswoman in first class called out, "Someone check her credentials. He's right. Women can't fly those planes." The live stream viewers jumped to 1,147. The captain's voice came over the intercom with an unusual announcement. "Ladies and gentlemen, we're experiencing a slight delay. Please remain seated." Richard smirked with satisfaction. "See? They're probably calling airport security on you right now, fake soldier." What Richard didn't know was that Captain James Walsh in the cockpit had recognized Maya's name on the passenger manifest. He was former Air Force, and he knew exactly who Phoenix was. He'd made a different call. To Andrews Air Force Base, to the Pentagon, to presidential security. Maya's encrypted phone, still in the black case under row 24, started vibrating intensely. The screen lit up with words that made nearby passengers gasp. "Incoming secure call, Air Force One." A passenger in row 24 noticed immediately. There's a phone here flashing Air Force One." The cabin went completely silent. Richard laughed nervously. "Nice try. That's obviously fake." The main cabin door suddenly opened. A man in a dark suit with a Secret Service earpiece visible stepped aboard. Behind him came two Air Force Security Forces personnel in full uniform. "Captain Maya Reeves?" the Secret Service agent asked professionally. Maya stood at attention. "Yes, sir." He handed her the black case with reverence. "Ma'am, you have an urgent call from Air Force One. The President would like to speak with you." Every phone in that cabin was now recording, Richard's face drained of all color. Maya took the phone and put it on speaker as protocol allowed in emergencies. A voice came through crystal clear. "Captain Reeves, this is Colonel David Martinez, Air Force One Operations. We've been monitoring a situation. Are you secure?" "Yes, sir," Maya responded calmly. "Ma'am, we're currently airborne 200 miles from your location. The President has been briefed on the incident. He's requesting immediate visual confirmation of your status." Through the airplane windows, passengers on the left side started screaming in disbelief. Two F-22 Raptors had pulled alongside the commercial aircraft, flying in perfect formation at 35,000 feet. Their afterburners glowed brilliantly against the afternoon sky. The lead pilot's voice came over Maya's phone, broadcast through the cabin speakers for everyone to hear. "Phoenix Actual, this is Viper Lead. We have visual on your position. Air Force One is in trail, 5 miles back. The President sends his regards and asks if you need assistance." Richard Henderson collapsed into his first-class seat, his legs unable to support him. The Secret Service agent looked directly at him with cold professional authority. "Sir, you just assaulted a combat veteran, a decorated fighter pilot, and the lead pilot for tomorrow's presidential escort mission. You're under federal arrest for assault on a military officer." The F-22s maintained their formation as the commercial flight was diverted to a military airfield. Air Force One followed behind, a massive 747 with the presidential seal visible to everyone on board. When they landed, Richard Henderson was escorted off first, now in handcuffs. FBI agents were waiting on the tarmac. So were military investigators. The charges were read aloud: assault on a federal officer, interference with military operations, and creating a hazardous situation aboard an aircraft. As he was led away in shame, the Secret Service agent read him the consequences without emotion. Federal assault on an officer, 8 years minimum. Interfering with a pilot on active orders, 5 years. Disturbing a flight crew, 20 years maximum. Enjoy your trial, sir. Richard's eyes were wide with absolute terror. I didn't know. I thought... His voice was barely a whisper now. You thought a woman couldn't be a fighter pilot, Maya said quietly, her voice steady. You thought your assumptions mattered more than facts? The other passengers who had filmed and laughed were questioned as witnesses. The businesswoman who had supported Richard's claims was banned from all commercial airlines pending a full investigation. Jessica, the flight attendant, personally apologized to Maya with tears in her eyes. I should have stopped him sooner. You did what you could, Maya replied with grace. Sometimes people need to learn lessons the hard way. 6 months later, Richard Henderson stood in federal court wearing prison orange. The judge's voice was ice cold. 18 months in federal prison, $50,000 in fines, lifetime ban from commercial aviation. Upon release, you will complete 500 hours of community service with veterans organizations. His hedge fund had fired him immediately. His wife had filed for divorce. The video had gone viral with 47 million views. He became the national face of ignorant prejudice. The day after the incident, Maya had completed her mission flawlessly. She led the 4-ship F-22 formation that escorted Air Force One to the Medal of Honor ceremony. The president personally thanked her in front of 5,000 people, saying, "Captain Phoenix Reeves represents the best of America, dignity under fire, competence in the face of ignorance, and the kind of quiet professionalism that makes our nation safe." 1 year later, the military implemented the Phoenix Protocol, a mandatory training program for all personnel on respecting service members, regardless of gender, race, or appearance. Maya was asked to lead the program development. She still flew F-22s, still protected presidents, still faced occasional skepticism. But now, when someone questioned her credentials, she just smiled and said, "Want to see my call sign?" Justice at 35,000 feet. Maya Phoenix Reeves continued her service, flying 127 combat missions and training the next generation of fighter pilots, including many women who now proudly serve. Richard Henderson served his time. Upon release, he became an advocate against prejudice, speaking at veterans' events about his costly mistake. Sometimes the most dangerous assumptions are the ones we make about people we refuse to see clearly. If this story inspired you, smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell. Have you ever witnessed someone's expertise being completely dismissed? Share your story in the comments below. It might become our next viral justice story. Watch closely at the beginning. There's a hidden detail that foreshadowed the entire outcome. Spot it? Tell us in the comments. The Phoenix Protocol. Making skies safer through respect and recognition, based on real incidents of discrimination against female service members.